There's been a red card, but for who, Chris Kamara?
They can't. Gets a red card. It is a red card. That's not a red card.
And a red is a red card for Zidane.
4 lads, 1 red card.
Hello everyone, welcome to 4 Lads Red Card. This is the 9th edition of your favorite podcast. I'm joined by my 3 usual mates, Jotis, Darren and Alex. How it's going, guys? All good?
Really good.
Yeah.
It's nice
As
to see
usual.
it. Just, guys, we're very excited once again today to discuss about football. Before we begin, once again, don't forget to follow us, put a like, comment, and share our content on social medias, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and X. This is 4 Lads Red Card. And we'll start with a review of this new day of Champions League action. Guys, we're halfway through this phase of the league, and we're going to take a look back at this week's result together. To be honest, Darren is the only one that has a reason to be happy with his team. So we'll save the best for last. So first, let's talk about the clash at Anfield between Liverpool and Real Madrid. Jotis, this is Real's second defeat this season, once again away from home. After the one against Atletico, we remember this game. Real is kind of struggling away this season against the big team. Sorry. In your opinion, what was missing in this match for the players and for the team?
I mean, the bottom line is we weren't good enough. If it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois, I mean, for anyone who watched the game, they know if it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois, it would have been 4-0 easily. So we were just not good enough. Going forward, we were not sharp, we were not clinical, and defensively we struggled a lot. There were really one-on-one chances against Thibaut Courtois, and thank God we have a world-class keeper. And that's the only reason the scoreline was 1-0. But yeah, we were just not good enough. We didn't attack as a team. We have really good attacking players, but we just couldn't do it. Yeah, and Liverpool they came to the match on the back of 5 defeats, and they had won 1 game against Aston Villa, and the next was us. So they were not particularly confident. So we were not able to take advantage of that. But yeah, it was a disappointing night.
Yeah, when we talked about this game last week, you were kind of confident, and that was understandable because Real Madrid was kind of winning everything, and Liverpool was kind of struggling.
Yeah.
Do you think this confidence was a problem for Real Madrid? Do you think they felt not untouchable, but they thought they're gonna win easily this game or something, and then after that they saw that Liverpool was coming back and maybe press them more than expected? What do you think?
I think the team knew that this was going to be a tough match, especially it was at Anfield, so they knew this was going to be a tough game. But I think they underestimated the pressure that comes with playing Liverpool in Anfield, and they weren't really ready for the press. And moving forward, we weren't sharp, we weren't clinical, we didn't take that. We had chances, we weren't clinical enough to convert that into goals. So we were a bit rusty. That's what I can say. But I don't know. I don't exactly know why, because we had been in, like you said, excellent season. So I would say it was not about underestimating the team. It was just we were not good enough.
I think one of the biggest problems that Real Madrid have right now, and not only this season, but this happened, I think, in the previous season also, is that the players, they seem to be in need of a comfort zone in the pitch. They don't want to go into tight areas of the pitch. For example, they don't want to play when they turn their backs to the center back. But sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you won't have the comfort zone on the pitch. You won't have the area to dribble. Sometimes you're going to have to go into tight areas and dribble there in order to score a goal or find a position. And I think this is a big problem since the Ancelotti's time in Real Madrid. And Xabi Alonso still can't seem to find a fix for it. It seems to be stuck on the players. And I think this is the number one thing that Real Madrid needs to fix in order to improve their play, because most of the games, you won't have the open play, the open area to score these goals. So you're going to have to go into zones that you don't like to. You're going to have to turn your back on the opponent's center back and try to turn around, try to make slight touches, slight smooth moves in order to score a goal. So I think that's what the team needs to work on in order to improve their play.
Yeah, that's true. For the rest of the competition, for the schedule, Real Madrid will play 4 games left. Olympiacos away, and then there will be the huge match against Man City at the Bernabeu. Then they will then receive Monaco and go play at Benfica. For Liverpool, it's going to be PSV at home, Inter Milan away, Marseille away, and then Karabakh at home. Those two teams have 9 points for now. Do you think for each of them they're going to qualify easily in the top 8, or they're going to struggle? What do you think, Alex? Maybe do you think your prediction at the beginning of the season was that Real Madrid will not be in the top 8? What do you think now?
Unfortunately, I think that my prediction won't be a good one. Real will finish top 8. I think their schedule is quite easy. The only tougher game they have left is against City, and playing at home against City, even though City smashed Liverpool in the weekend, they are not still that same football machine that they used to be. As for Liverpool, they have a very tricky schedule. They
Yeah.
play next PSG and then Inter Milan. These are basically the teams that met last year in the Champions League final last season. So it's going to be tough for Liverpool. They need to pick up points, and if they don't, they might find themselves out of the top 8. So I think, to answer your question straight, I think that Liverpool would struggle or could struggle to make the top 8, and I would not be surprised if they don't make it. And as for Real Madrid, I think they will make the top 8 without any problems.
Yeah, just one precision. It's not PSG, it's PSV Eindhoven, so it may be easier
Okay.
for them, right?
But Eindhoven is still a great team. We have
No
Dennis Mann
disrespect
over
to my
there.
Dutch brothers.
No, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it's still difficult.
Difficult for you. Darren, what do you think? Real Madrid and Liverpool in the top 8 or not?
I think they're gonna finish in top 8, but I don't think it's gonna be as easy as it seems from the fixture because, as we know, nobody expected Karabakh to put a great performance this year, but they somehow did, and they're one of the most physical teams that don't give up throughout the game. So I don't think it's gonna be easy for Real Madrid to be in top 8, but with their quality, I think they're gonna overcome this.
Okay, so we'll see in the next few games. Guys, we continue with the other big match of this fourth day of the Champions League. PSG hosted the invincible Bayern Munich, and as predicted, it was a very tense match, resulting in a victory for Bayern 2-1, and which finally sees PSG fall in Europe this season. I can speak a bit about it because I think it was a well-deserved victory overall for Bayern, who managed to hold on despite Luis Diaz's red card. The injury of Hakimi was kind of scaring, but they managed to hold that game. I would like to talk in more depth about PSG's failing this season. To be honest, I have always criticized the club's summer transfer window, which I felt extremely incomplete. Only Lucas Chevalier and Elia Zabarny joined the club this summer, and it's fair to say that their start to the season has been far from impressive. Chevalier is struggling to find his level back in Lille, and Zabarny is not well adapted to the team for now. I believe that this was predictable, that many players would get injured or not be 100% fit, given the intensity and number of matches last season. So in my opinion, this poor transfer window perfectly illustrates this defeat. There's no alternative for Ashraf Hakimi on the right side, for example. The midfield outside Riz, Neves, and Vitinha, so the usual tree seems a bit incomplete to me. And there's also a lack of attacking players of the caliber of PSG. The perfect example is Bradley Barcola, who is performing very poorly those last games. And this was his time because you have Ousmane Dembele injured, you have Desiré Doué injured. That was the time for Barcola to show that he is a great player, that he can carry this attack. And we see that this is not the case. Yeah, that's a bit strange to see that PSG, who normally recruits a lot of players, spend a lot of money on its transfer window. Those past mercados were not the same, and they said too that they are not really concerned about signing new players this winter. So yeah, I would like to know your opinion on that, judges. Tell us.
Do you think you got lazy because of the success of the last season, because you had such a good squad, you had such a good squad depth? So do you think that success kind of blinded you from signing new players?
Well, I'm not sure about that point. It's more about Luis Enrique's psychology. He said at the beginning of the season that he has a group that he can play with. He doesn't need lots of other players. He has young players he wants to put on the pitch and to make them prove their true level. I think that's more about like, even if you have a great group, even if you have great players, you know that the next season will be hard because you will have injured players. That will be the African Nations Cup in January, so you know that you will miss Hakimi, for example. So you need to anticipate those kind of problems, in my opinion, and not after the time tell that the group is not complete. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Alex.
Yeah, you know what I think, when a big team like PSG loses a game, and of course they played another big team, Bayern, but because they are the champions of Europe and because of all the success they had, the talking is done more into like why PSG lost and not praising Bayern for the win. This happened when PSG beat Barcelona as well. They were talking about why Barcelona lost and not praising PSG for the win. I think like PSG lost because Bayern also played very good, and Luis Diaz, he got the red card, but he did everything in the game. He needed to get home earlier, and this is why he
Yeah.
got sent off. But so it's an early stage game. I think that PSG can bounce back from it, but it's also like one of the reasons for the PSG loss is the way Bayern played, and Bayern have been so good this season. And I think this is the game that made us like take them very serious,
Yeah,
like Champions League contenders, because before this PSG game they didn't have like very big games, because in Bundesliga they can win every match like 3-0 or even more, but in the Champions League they haven't faced a big opponent yet, and they beat the European champions. So yeah, I believe it's also Bayern that made the game difficult for PSG.
I just wanted to add something there because one of the talking points of that game was, like Jules mentioned, Hakimi's injury. That
Yeah.
so Luis Diaz gets sent off, which in video, like the tackle looks horrible, and I think that he's out for like a couple of weeks or a few months. How
yeah.
long is that?
Well, they did not really precise it, but he will not be available until 2026 for sure. So
Mhm.
that makes at least 2 months. We'll see after that, but yeah.
Yeah, so for anyone who is watching this, I would highly recommend checking out James Madison's new vlog on his injury recovery, because as football fans, we get carried away. Like we think, oh, they make a lot of money, they can recover quickly, it's a piece of cake. But that video, that vlog actually delves deep into like how mentally challenging it is, like for an football to get injured and then coming back. So for anyone who's interested in this, I would highly recommend checking out that blog, because it clearly shows it's not easy coming back from an injury. So just thought I'd mention that.
I will check
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's true. And also the fact that was a terrible night also for Hakimi because that was his birthday during the game. So
Yeah,
you're playing with Bayern Munich for your birthday, so you want to do great things.
yeah.
You get a terrible injury. You might, I'm not sure it's official, but you might miss Africa Cup Nations, which is in Morocco. So that links what you're saying. Sometimes only a tackle, only an action, only a pass can have terrible consequences for a player. We all hope that Hakimi will recover soon and good, because he was impressive since lots of months or years right now. So we'll see that. Just to finish about PSG and Bayern Munich, the schedules: PSG will play Tottenham at home. They will go to Bilbao and Sporting Lisbon and finish against Newcastle at home. For Bayern Munich, so they have 12 points. They're first. They're going to play against Arsenal away for the next game. So the two leaders will face. That can be an interesting game. And then they will host Sporting, host Union Saint-Gilles, and then go play at PSV in Holland. Guys, quickly, same question for the Real Madrid and Liverpool. Do you think PSG and Bayern Munich will finish into this top 8?
I think yes.
Yeah.
I do believe both teams are gonna finish in top 8, I think. Even with teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they have to. Like if they're not finishing in top 8, who else is? That's the question, is it?
Yeah, true.
Alex, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm agreeing. Bayern are leaders, I believe, and
Yeah.
PSG only have had this loss, and
Mhm.
they won all the other games. So yeah, I think they will finish top 8. And also, like, we've seen how big dream teams are treating these early stages of the competition more serious, because last season we had teams like Leverkusen and Aston Villa in the top 8, and teams like PSG, Real Madrid, and Bayern in the playoffs. Right now, I don't think we'll see the same scenario this season.
Yeah, it seems
Last,
that
one thing that got to my attention is that last year, I think the point gap between the top 8 and the rest was not that big. But this year, the point gap is huge. I mean, if I checked correctly, last year, to qualify in top 24 in order to go to the next round, the point threshold was 11 points. This year, I don't think it's going to be 11 points at the current situation. I think it's going to be a bit less than 11, because everyone is, especially in the bottom side of the table, everyone are losing, constantly losing. So the point gap is huge. That means you don't have to get too much points in order to stay in the competition. It's an interesting year.
Yeah.
yeah, it feels that the big teams are focusing more on this league phase because they know that it's gonna be an advantage for them to finish into this top 8, and also the rule that we mentioned last week: if you finish first or second, you have the opportunity to host the return leg. So that's a great thing for big teams.
Yeah, just to also support your argument about big teams focusing more in Champions League. So last week, we know that there are top 8 teams here in the Champions League that we talked about. So 5 teams out of those top 8 lost points in their domestic leagues this weekend. 5 out of 8
Wow.
is, I think, a lot, yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
this
a lot.
shows that they're focusing more on Champions League than their domestic leagues.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that was the point for UEFA to have teams really concerned as soon as the season starts. So
Exactly.
yeah, that campaign is going to be interesting. Guys, we'll move on to last Wednesday matches and Barcelona's trip to Bruges. High scoring draw, 3-3. So Barcelona dropped more important points in Europe. They have 7 points right now. Alex, do you think Barcelona is still in contention for the highest spots in this league phase? What do you think?
I think, yes, they will finish top 8. I think that Szczęsny should retire again and just focus on smoking, because he is cooked and we can't welcome Joan Garcia earlier. Yeah, the defense is crazy. I don't know what to say. Flick doesn't want to change anything at all, so I guess we'll just pray before every single game. That's all.
Is Lamine Yamal back?
He is on track. He is on track. You know, no girlfriend. Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world without any question. Yeah.
Fair
Same.
enough.
Yeah, well, we saw Lamine Yamal doing great last Wednesday. And you talked about Chesney too. Remember that last week, or 2 weeks ago, when we talked about the Clásico, Chesney was your man of the match. So now you want him to retire.
How things can change so fast in football.
That's a really good point. That's a really good
Yeah.
point, though.
I mean, he was very good in the Clásico, but don't forget that also the fact that he can't save a shot. I think every single shot that went on target, almost every single shot that went on target against him was scored. And I think that Clásico performance was the only good one from him this season, because he has faced many shots and he has conceded a lot of goals. Also, he made that big mistake towards the end of the game, and fortunately for Barcelona, it was a foul, because otherwise we would have lost that game against Bruges, because he decided to turn into Neymar and dribble in his own box. I don't know what. Yeah. So it's difficult. Flick doesn't want to change. The players can't seem to keep their focus on maintaining that high line efficiently. So yeah, we just pray that we can score more goals than the opponent.
This is classic Barcelona fan behavior. One day you're praising your player, and next day you're forcing him to break up with his girlfriend.
But Lamine breaking up is great for the team. So yeah, him and no girlfriend is the perfect combination. You know, no player comes close to Lamine Yamal with no girlfriend. As soon as he left Nicole behind, he started banging goals and crushing defenders. So
So you
that's the thing.
just need to keep him single for, let's say, 10 more years, and then maybe Barcelona
Yeah.
in the Champions League.
Yeah, if maybe 20. He can still play for 20 years. Maybe. You never know.
Well, So that makes PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool in Barcelona for you, Alex, in this top 8. Maybe another team can finish in this top 8. We'll finish with the good news of the week. Galatasaray followed up their victory over Bodo Glimt with another win, 3-0, away to Ajax, including a hat-trick from Victor Osimhen. Galatasaray has 9 points after
Yes.
4 games. Do you think your club has a chance in this championship? Where do you see them in the future of this competition?
I mean, when we first started this Champions League season, I never expected this, by the way, because the first game we lost against Frankfurt 5-1, which was a huge defeat and a huge demotivation for the fans, for the team. But we recovered really, really good from that, beating Liverpool, Bodo Glimt, and Ajax back-to-back. I think it's really, really important. Even though Ajax is, I think they're still the last in the Champions League with 0 points. But even though they're last, Ajax is still a difficult team to win against, especially in their stadium, because they are a team of discipline, the Dutch discipline, and they never get tired. They always try to stay in the game even when they're losing. I mean, even when the game was 2-0, when we were leading 2-0, they were still trying to somehow make a comeback. So it was a bit of tough, but thanks to Victor Osimhen's hat-trick, we were able to win against them. And right now, Victor Osimhen is first in the goal kingdom, goal championship, whatever you want to call it. He's the first in that list. So we're going to see how it goes for the rest of the games, but I'm pretty confident. I think we are very clear, so we can get out of the group stage right now with these points. But when we look at the fixture, we have games against Union Saint-Gilloise, and then Monaco, and then Atletico Madrid at home. And last game, we are going to Manchester City away at Etihad. But I think if we can manage to win against Saint-Gilloise in the home, and if we can somehow defeat Monaco at away, we have a slight chance of finishing in top 8. But realistically looking, it's still very, very hard, because these teams that we play against, they are also fighting to stay in the top 24. So points, even a single point, is very crucial for them. So we'll see how it goes. I don't want to talk big and jinx it, but I would be very happy if this happens and Galatasaray makes it to top 8 at the end of the group stage.
Well, you mentioned Victor Osimhen. You're right to mention him because he is scoring a lot of goals, and he's the top scorer in this Champions League phase. I think that is really important for Galatasaray, I think, and for all the European teams that are playing in this Champions League. You remember when we criticized Man City because they didn't have a number 9. Then same for Arsenal. You know that while you're playing this competition, you need a pure striker, and for now, Galatasaray has one of the best ones in Europe, and that makes you win some important points. So as you said, you already have 3 victories. Your schedule, the good thing for you, I think, is that you will play Union Saint-Gilloise at home and then Monaco away, and that may confirm your presence for the next rounds. And then the 2 games against Atletico and Man City will be maybe bonuses games, And you never know, because you have a great striker, you have a great team, but you have a great striker. And we saw that in this competition, even one goal can make the difference, and maybe that goal will come from Victor Osimhen. So that's a great thing to have this kind of a player in your team, and let's hope he will stay in Galatasaray for a long time now.
Yes, let's hope so. I hope that your teams, one of your teams, don't steal him from us at the end of the season.
Yeah, he might.
I mean, when we look at it realistically, he can play in PSG, he can play so easily in Barcelona, and also in Real Madrid. If, let's say, Vinicius leaves, you can throw Mbappe to the wing and put Osimhen to striker.
It's crazy that he's playing for Galatasaray. I mean,
I know.
You look at Napoli, they sold him to Galata like on a permanent deal this year, and they signed Højlund instead. Who does that?
I mean,
who does that?
And their president is a bit of a crazy man, so I don't know.
Also, there was a lot of problems between Osimhen and Napoli, because he was trying to leave for Premier League, wasn't he?
He was
the
trying
season before.
Also for the Saudi Arabia 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, he wanted to leave.
He just wanted to leave. Even with PSG, he had talks, I think.
Yeah, he wanted to leave Napoli, and they wouldn't let him. And then I think Gala happened like in the last minute, or it was
definitely
like
last minute, because the transfer window in Europe was closed, and he didn't want to stay, so we just jumped in. It was like a situation kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that was a very smart move. Yeah, and it became permanent. So that's a
Yeah,
that's a
exactly. I
great
mean,
move from.
even the loan deal was crazy when I heard it. Believe me, I was in my summer house. I was swimming, and then I get out of the sea, and then one of my friends told me, "You got Osimhen." I was like, "Nah, man, get the hell out of here. What are you talking about?" And then I checked my phone, and we got Osimhen in a loan deal, and I was so shocked. But even even though we got him on loan, no one was believing that he's gonna stay on a permanent deal. But we somehow made it permanent. So I'm still really amazed about it.
And how did Galata get the money for him?
Bro, I have no idea.
The betting deals that he was talking about before.
Yeah, that's
No, no, no.
another subject.
We have lots of revenue from the stadium, from the tickets, from everything like sponsors. I think we have like huge sponsorship deals, and also the 75 million euro is not in a single installment. We are paying in 3 installments, so
Yeah.
that also helps.
And also, when you have that kind of player that want to sign with you, you find the money.
Yeah,
You have to
Exactly.
find the
I
money.
mean, if Osimhen wants to sign you, you somehow go and get the money from anywhere.
Exactly.
The hard part was not
So,
the
yeah.
money; it's convincing Osimhen.
Exactly. Well, it's now time to move on to the second segment of our podcast, guys, and talk about the Premier League. Once again, there were some great matches this weekend, and the table has been shaken up once again. We'll start with the 2-2 draw between Tottenham and Manchester United. Guys, these two teams have had a close relationship for some time now, particularly since last season's Europa
For
League
the wrong
final.
reasons.
Exactly. Alex, we'll begin with you. Okay. In your opinion, those two teams, do they have a chance of qualifying for the next Champions League? Will they finish in the top 5, top 4? Or what do you think?
Tottenham may have a chance. United have no chance. Tottenham, I really like the Tottenham manager, Thomas Frank. He's done an amazing job at Brentford, and he's building the pieces, for the Tottenham project. And I think they have a good future with him. As for United, even though they are like on a rise right now, not a big rise, but they haven't lost in 6 games, and that's
That,
very big for
For
Man
United
United.
levels.
yeah.
Yeah, I still don't think they can make it to the Champions League. It's very difficult, and I still believe that Liverpool can't finish outside top 4, even though they are losing every single game right now. I can't see United finishing above Liverpool. It's not normal, the universe wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Darren, you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think top 4 based on the current performances, if something mystical doesn't happen, I think it's going to be Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, but you can change the order.
Okay. Another interesting game this weekend, the 2-2 draw, another 2-2 draw, caused quite a stir. It was the match between Sunderland and Arsenal. Sunderland held the London leaders to a draw, and they consolidate their place at the high of the table. I think they are fourth in the table, so that's amazing for them. Jotis, Sunderland is your team this season. We know that. Do you think they have a chance of qualifying for Europe? Let's not say Champions League, but for Europe next season, just after being promoted from the Championship. What do you think about that?
Hope they will, but it's going to
Okay.
be a really big stretch for them to do it. I mean, they managed to get a draw against Arsenal, with a last minute equalizer, which is a massive game, point for them, because I think Arsenal has been winning almost all games this season, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
or at least they haven't lost a game in the league so
No,
far.
No, they
the
lost
last
to
time they
Liverpool.
lost it was against Liverpool in August, and then
Yeah.
they didn't lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So this point was massive for them. I also wanted to quickly mention one aspect about the United Tottenham game.
Yeah, sure.
Did you guys know that out of the last 5 late goals that Richarlison has scored, the team never won it?
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
that's
the
cool.
guy scores a lot with his goal, takes his shirt off, celebrates, and
Yeah.
they never won that game. I thought that was interesting. But Sunderland, I feel like I still go by my prediction. I think they're still gonna finish mid-table.
Mhm.
I actually met a Sunderland fan the other day, and then I was telling him that this was gonna happen. He didn't believe me. He was like, "There's no way that's gonna happen." I think Europe is a bit of a stretch, but mid-table is where they'll end up.
Okay, interesting. Alex, what do you think about this Sunderland side? Will they fall at least one day, or will they continue their amazing performance?
I think they will finish mid-table, but
Mhm.
the upper hand that they have, comparing it to the other teams that have been promoted. You look at the Sunderland players, for example, in that defense, you have Gertruida, you have Reynildo. These are players that last season they were playing the knockout stages of the Champions League for their old clubs, and they came to the Premier League with the hunger to perform in the most entertaining league in the world. That shows you the strength of the Premier League. Also, because a newly promoted team is capable of attracting these players, these Champions League quality players, and it also shows you the good decision making by the Sunderland board to build this squad, because Burnley and Leeds, the other promoted teams, are struggling right now. Yeah, I think they will finish mid-table, maybe to go a bit beyond. Maybe they could finish in the top 10, like 10, 9, something like that. That would be a very big achievement.
100%.
Absolutely. Therein, what do you agree with that? Do you think Sunderland has the team, the strength to finish in this mid-table, maybe higher? What do you think about that?
I think so as well. I mean, they have shown their quality several times throughout the season, so I think they have the quality to finish in top 10. The only thing is that sometimes these teams as a club, not as individual players, they don't have the culture or the atmosphere to go into the stress and handle the stress throughout the season in order to finish in the upper part of the season. They sometimes, even though they play well, sometimes they struggle to manage that stress and they cannot hold on forever. So I think maybe some additions in the January transfer window could help Sunderland achieve this. If they can plan this very well, I think they can stay in the top 10 of the Premier League table.
Okay, interesting. Just I want to mention I have the schedule for Sunderland. They're gonna play at Fulham next week. No, not next week. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, then they're gonna host Bournemouth, and then they will play at Anfield, play at the Etihad Stadium, and then receive Newcastle. So that's gonna be a tough calendar for them. But imagine them bring, I don't know, 2 or 3 victories, maybe 6, 9 points. That can be amazing for them. Now we're going to talk about Chelsea. They beat Wolverhampton 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Wolverhampton, who is the red bottom of the league, but that's another victory and also another clean sheet for the Blues, who are currently third in the Premier League. A simple question. I'll answer the first, but simple question, guys. Do you think this Chelsea side challenge for the title at the end of this season? Maybe you have hopes. You know that I'm a big fan of Chelsea. They're third in the table, but I don't think they can challenge the title this year. To be honest, I think they're playing good. We remember last season they were second in the midterm, I think something like that. In December they were second in the league, and then they lost a lot of games. You remember also Cole Palmer stopped scoring, stopped assisting for like 20 years. I don't know, but. I mean, I think that this Chelsea, as you said before, will finish in this top 4 and then qualify for the next Champions League, and that is a good objective to pursue, I think. But to challenge the title, when you look at Arsenal, when you look at City, even when you look at Liverpool, I think those teams are way more consistent, way more experienced than Chelsea, than this Chelsea side. Maybe in the future, in the next years, they can progress and then aim to win this title. But in my opinion, this season, even if they're doing nice in those moments, they will not challenge the title until the end of the season. Ring, I know that you like also a bit Chelsea. What do you think? Do you agree with me, or you have hopes?
No, I think they are in a better position than past couple of years right now. I think Enzo Maresca is doing an alright job right now with the current situation of Chelsea, but I don't think they are yet in the capacity to fight for the title in the Premier League. But they are in the right direction, as I said. So I have hopes maybe for the next season. But I still really think that they're gonna, even if not the Premier League title, they're gonna finish in top 4 and be in the Champions League next season as well. I mean, even their rotation players are not really bad. So I watched the game against Karabakh. Even though the game ended 2-2, I think it's safe to say Chelsea missed so many chances. They could have won that game maybe. So even their rotation squad can compete in the European football. So I think they're in a good direction right now, but not for the Premier League title.
Okay, Alex, Jotis, the same for you. What do you think?
Yeah, they're not winning. They're not winning. They're not winning the league. I think Tottenham has a better chance of winning the league than Chelsea.
Okay,
Oh,
that's bold. That's bold. I
I don't
disagree
have
with
a
that.
yellow card here, but I want to give one to you.
Yeah, that, give
I'll give
yourself a
one
yellow
give
card.
yeah one myself, but no, Chelsea are not winning it. No,
Yeah, but like
for
not as bad as Tottenham. I mean, no disrespect to my Tottenham viewers right now, Tottenham fans, but I think that Chelsea is in a better position than Tottenham right now.
now for one time I actually agree with Jotis. You can't take a club that signs Garnacho serious in a race. No, if a club signs Garnacho, there's a proper sign that that club is retarded. So yeah, Chelsea are not in a touch.
Jesus.
I can't say anything about that.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest. But yeah, so we all agree that Chelsea won't win the title at the end of this season. Maybe top four can be a good aim for them. Finally, to conclude this Premier League sequence, the match we were all waiting for was this Sunday, the clash between Man City and Liverpool. And that was City who won the game 3-0, with the Pep Guardiola's men completely dominating, and notably thanks to a huge Jeremy Doku and another decisive performance from Erling Haaland. Guys, we have to talk about that game. First of all, can we talk a bit about this performance of Jeremy Doku?
Yes.
He was amazing, right?
He's insane. I mean, I've always said this. I don't know, I don't know which episode of this podcast, but I said that Jeremy Doku is one of the best wingers, the most underrated wingers in the world. I don't know why people are sleeping on him, why people are not talking of him like as much as Rodrigo or any other winger, but he's insane. I think he's one of the best wingers in European football right now. Not only for this game, but throughout his entire season. Even last year, he was amazing.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, he is. He has amazing qualities. The problem with Doku is that he's not consistent. He has an amazing game in like 10 games. He needs 10 games to play a very good game. He needs to put these kind of performances on a more consistent basis in order to be considered world class. But I very much appreciate him, and he's one of my favorite players because he's taking the players all by his own. He's not afraid to take on players, and doing that in a Guardiola system is it's a sign of courage, you know. So
Yeah, that is true.
yeah,
Man's got
I very
balls.
much appreciate him. He's a very good player. He just needs to be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Alex. Again, this might be the first time I agree with Alex on something. But yeah, Jeremy Doku is an absolute pleasure to watch because we always talk about wingers lacking creativity, lacking that expression on the field, and Jeremy Doku is just doing it. I mean, we talk about the game against Liverpool, but we also saw against the game against Borussia Dortmund as well. Like he was dancing on that wing, and it's such a pleasure to watch. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was this clip from CBS. I think it was after the Dortmund game where he was talking about Thierry Henry's influence on him and
Yeah,
how Thierry Henry gives him advice and whatsoever. So I feel like, yeah, he just need to be consistent, and he could be on his way to be one of the best wingers in Premier League right now.
and he opened the YouTube channel. And I don't know what's going on with Man City. Man City
Really?
players opening YouTube channels because Haaland has
Yeah.
one as well. Doku has a YouTube channel too. They are preparing for the future, you know, after retirement. Pep
They're,
or Pep is
they're
telling
getting
them
their passive
become
income.
streamers. I don't know.
I think this is an interesting topic that we should talk during the international break because I kind of read a lot about like players taking control of their media and their rights. I think it's an interesting topic that we should talk about.
Yeah, it
But
is.
it's a very entertaining though. It's fun to watch.
It's really fun to watch that. Yeah, to see their life, that normal life, what they're doing, how do they train, as you mentioned, James Madison. Another great player we have to mention today is Erling Haaland. He again scored yesterday against Liverpool. Even if he missed the penalty, we saw that he missed that penalty, but he then just after that scored an amazing header. When we have that kind of Erling Haaland on the pitch, we know that he always performed at the beginning of the seasons he made. But we're now in November. He scored against Liverpool. He scored in the Champions League. He scored in all the big games he had. Do you think we have now the best version of Erling Haaland? Because he scored goals, but he's also much more into the game that he was previously. You remember last season he was not touching any balls, he was not participating into the game. Right now he's way more present. Alex, for you, when you have this Erling Haaland on your side, can he make City win titles back again?
I think yes. I think that there's no doubt he's the leader of the team now. De Bruyne has left and he's now the leader. And yeah, you're right. He developed his game. He's more getting into combinations with his teammates. And I think he's even better right now than he was during his first season at City, because it was during his first season when he broke that goal scoring record in the Premier League for the most goals scored in a single Premier League season. Also, the season in which they won the treble. But there were very big question marks around him and many talks around him because he just put the ball into the net, but he wasn't involved in the play of in the build-up play of Man City. And Man City were incredible that year. The machine was was working so good that Haaland just put the chances into the back of the net. He didn't need to get involved this season because I don't think Man City has the best squad in the Premier League. If you are looking at their squad, you have Haaland, but apart from him, you have who? Nico Gonzalez, O'Reilly, Mateus Nunes. These are players that are not high quality. I mean, they are high quality players, but they are not world class. So I think that Haaland understood that he needs to be the leader and he is the face of the team, and he's taken that very serious. And he really developed his game. And yeah, I think this is the best version of him.
Yeah, therein you have a nice jersey on you. This reminds us this beautiful season Man City did in 2023 and
Yeah.
Erling Haaland for his first season. Do you share this opinion? Do you think that Haaland this season is now the true leader of this team and can make them win titles and win important games like yesterday's one?
I think Haaland is a very great world-class striker, but I'm not sure if he's a true leader in the pitch, because leadership is it's not positively oriented with how good of a football player you are. Sometimes a decent football player can be a better leader than the world-class football players. I mean, for example, when you look at Carles Puyol in Barcelona, he wasn't one of the best of the best. He was really, really good. He was a decent and a really solid center back, but he wasn't one of the best. So I don't want to say Haaland is the leader, but one thing that surprised me is that I think Manchester City players, especially also Haaland, they play better when they are not under stress. What I mean by this is that sometimes in the previous seasons, when Manchester City were at their top of their performance, where we can say they were at their prime, they were struggling to beat Liverpool, or they were struggling to not lose against Arsenal. But this season, even though they are not at their best, they really easily beat Liverpool in their home, and 3-0 is actually a huge win against Liverpool, because I remember in 2019 when Manchester City became champions with 99 points, where Liverpool were following them with 98. I remember they won 2-1 in Etihad against Liverpool, and they struggled a lot. I mean, if it was not for that John Stones clearance from the line, maybe Liverpool would have been champions. But this season, they're not at their best, and they're not as good as the 2019 Manchester City. But I think they play better than, not better, but like they play more confidently without any pressure.
I think it also talks about, I mean, we were talking about when big teams beat other big teams, we always talk about why they lost. But here we've been talking about Man City all along, so I feel like we should talk about Liverpool, how they've not been good enough. And
Absolutely.
people are already starting to call Arne Slot a one-season wonder. It's a bit of a stretch. Maybe it's a bit early, but people are starting to ask questions. Also, one other player that I want to talk about is Conor Bradley. After the game against us, he was praised so much. He was seen as the next Alexander Arnold, and he was like, they were not missing Alexander Arnold, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Jeremy Doku made Conor Bradley look like he just started playing football yesterday. and also Mohamed Salah, he's washed. That's a reality. So I don't know how Alex had that.
No, I agree. Salah definitely wanted that contract extension. He got it, and now he don't want to say that he's unbothered anymore, but He's in a comfortable position. He knows that he will play no matter what. That's a big story. So Chiesa, I think Chiesa has to build another stadium or something to get minutes for Liverpool. I don't know what that man can do to be playing in the starting 11. Wirtz, don't need to talk about him. Isak, don't need to talk about him. Konate is thinking about Naruto and all the anime that he's watching and probably learning Spanish because, yeah, he'll follow Trent in Madrid. It's a mess. It's a mess that we were not used to see at Liverpool because they were a club that they were always praised and given as an example for the stability. And look at what's going on right now. It's a difficult situation and somebody needs to like put the fist on the table and say, come on, let's stop this shit that's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Liverpool was on 2 games winning streak. Once again Aston Villa in the lead, and then we talked about this victory over Real Madrid, and now losing again in a huge clash, 3-0. Of course, it was away, but still, it's a kind of a shame to lose. As you said, Darren, you lose 3-0 at City is not the same as if you lose 2-1 or 1-0 or something. So that's important to mention it. And also, Justice, you talked about Mohamed Salah and also you, Alex. I think that you remember when Salah was like asking Liverpool to sign a new contract in some different interviews. There was this kind of game between the club and the player, and we were all like, Mohamed Salah will maybe the Ballon d'Or back on time, maybe 1 year ago. We were all thinking that Mohamed Salah was the best player in the world at that time. He was, to be honest. And we were all like, why they didn't sign him a new contract? Why they don't give him what he wants? Why they don't extend him? That's a problem that they are doing that. And now, 1 year later, we're questioning this decision because we're like, of course, Mohamed Salah is a great player, but Jotis, you say that he's worst. I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure that he will find his level, his high level once again. He will work away from that. And he's on a new contract, so that's a pretty bad decision from Liverpool. Do you think that Liverpool should not have signed a new contract to Mohamed Salah, even if they received criticism before? Now maybe people would give them the reason to do that. So do you think that this new contract was a mistake from Liverpool?
I mean, we couldn't have seen this in hindsight, right? Because, like you said, by the time people were demanding for a contract extension,
Yeah.
he was at the top of his game. Like he was the best player in the league, and he was, Liverpool's best player. But right now, when you look back at that decision, maybe the club were forced into because it felt like the club weren't willing to offer that contract because they delayed that for a long time, and then he was saying things to media to get that contract. Maybe the club is having second thoughts right now about whether that was a good decision, but back then we couldn't have said that this was going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good question. Alex, do you think that Salah will find his true level back? Do you think Arne Slot and Liverpool has to find solutions to maybe to play him a bit less? What do you think of this Salah situation? Because now his start of the season is kind of terrible, and we're not sure that he will be better for the.
Yeah, I definitely believe that he should be benched for some games. Regarding the contract situation, given the season that he has had, it's so difficult to not give him that contract. And also, he isn't that old. He's like, what, 33? So
Yeah.
you would imagine that he could keep on going on. Also, these whole changes that have been running around the club, it's very delicate. Slot needs to put the pieces together. When he came into the team, he took on a puzzle that was already solved because the team was the same one that Klopp left, and because we all know how good of a coach Jurgen Klopp was, he left for the new coach a very perfect functionally puzzle. But right now that puzzle is gone because half of the players are not at the club anymore. New players have come in, and Slot right now needs to put the pieces together, the pieces of the puzzle together, and it's up to his capabilities of doing that. We've seen that he's capable of managing a puzzle that's working, but we'll see. We can't see as of right now if whether or not he's capable of putting the puzzle together. It's very difficult, and I hope that they could come back and finish in the Champions League. Otherwise, it would be a disaster.
Yeah, that's true. Talking about Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, Jotis, you noticed recently that Jurgen Klopp's former assistant, I'll say the name Pepin Linders, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it well, but has recently joined Pep Guardiola on the City bench. It seems that this is a proof that Pep Guardiola is still trying to adapt to England and to work differently. Guys, when a coach like Guardiola is now working with the assistant of a former coach like Jurgen Klopp, do
Mhm.
you think is like intelligent? Is what do you think about that? Yes, tell us, Jotis.
I would like to give a bit of background on that. So when Jurgen Klopp left in 2024, I think it is pronounced Linders. I think it's German.
Linders, yeah.
So Linders, he promised that he wouldn't assist anyone like ever. He's going to be his own manager. And then he joined Red Bull Salzburg, but he was sacked like 6 months later. And then Pep came calling, and then Klopp mentioned in an interview that Linders had consulted Klopp if it's okay to take the job with Pep, and
Okay.
then he did. But Liverpool fans, as we know, they haven't forgiven the coach. But
Yes.
like you said, it's very interesting that Pep decided to do it. The he's one of the greatest manager of all time, and he's still learning from different tactics or people who have worked on different managers. I don't know why, but it's probably because the game is so demanding that you need to adapt and change.
Yeah.
I don't know what
He
you guys
doesn't
think about that.
he doesn't wanna end up like Jose Mourinho.
Exactly.
He's trying to adapt. I mean, it's not a secret. I don't like Mourinho's play style. I never did, even before he came to the Turkish league. So it's good to see that Pep Guardiola is always trying to adapt his play style to football because football never stops evolving. So that's good of him to do this.
Yeah, that's a smart move from Pep Guardiola. I wanted to talk also about Guardiola, who celebrated his thousandth game as a manager yesterday against Liverpool and a good celebration against them. Guys, I wanted to know, how do you see the future of Pep Guardiola? Is he set to stay at City for a long time to come? Will he take a new club, perhaps a national team, perhaps retiring? What is your opinion about Pep Guardiola's future, Darren?
So I think Pep Guardiola for me is the best manager of all time because I think he really, really changed modern football, the way we see it, the way game is being played. So I really like him, but I think he has won literally everything that he can win in club football. So one last thing that he can do before retirement is maybe a national team challenge. I think it would be very suited for him if Luis de la Fuente leaves Spain national team sometime in the future when Guardiola's contract is over with Manchester City. Maybe he can be the Spain national team manager to win the World Cup again, or he can even go to another national team as well because this kind of coach is someone that every national team in the world would want to manage their team. But yeah, for me, I would want to see him in a national team competition instead of a club competition.
Okay, Jotis?
That's a good point, but I don't think he'll ever be Spain's national team coach just because of the political issues. He's from Catalonia, and then there's a lot of political sensitivity there. So I don't know if he ever like talked about this, but I don't think he'll be the national team manager. In my opinion, he should do a Toni Kroos. He should win the league or Champions League, and then he should call it because his reputation is next to none at this point. So he should just finish at the top of his game.
So you're saying that if he keeps on pushing and continuing, maybe he will be unsuccessful and then that would hurt his reputation, right?
Because if we know one thing about Pep, the guys care so much about the clubs he chooses that his reputation. After all, at one point you will end up start losing. You will lose your game at some point. So I think when he's at the highest, I think he should call it a day and then save his legacy.
All right, interesting. Alex, do you share this opinion? Do you think Guardiola will stop after Man City, maybe a comeback at Barcelona? What do you think about
Yeah.
Guardiola's future?
I think you already answered the question. It's a dream of mine to see Guardiola back at Barcelona someday. Right now we have Hansi Flick, who is a very good coach, but Guardiola, you can't compare him to anyone. Uh, it's a dream of mine to see him back at Barcelona. I was thinking about Sir Alex Ferguson because Sir Alex is the manager that they compare him to the most when it comes to this discussion about who the best manager of all time is. Yeah, Barcelona and Pep. It's a dream of mine, and I think it won't happen, but I still hope. So yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see him in
someday.
the national team, or maybe he could, but having success in club football doesn't guarantee you success in international football, and we've seen that with Luis Enrique, who struggled a lot at the Spanish national team, and then Luis de la Fuente came in and they won the Euros. My dream is to see him come back at Barcelona and make Barcelona once again the most fearful team in Europe, because he made them the most entertaining and the best team in Europe, and also the best team of all time, because the prime that Barcelona had in those times, it was crazy. They were unplayable. And I'm sure many football fans are watching the sport because of Barcelona managed by Guardiola. He can make Barcelona the pinnacle of football once again, but it's very unlikely that he'll come back.
Make Barcelona great again. Yeah?
Yeah.
What what a good slogan. All right, guys. So it's gonna be interesting to watch the future of Pep Guardiola. Lads, we've now come to the end of this podcast. Just to say that of course next week is the international break, but no worries. We'll have lots of things to discuss and lots of things to do on the next weeks. Guys, thank you all for listening us on Spotify or watching us on YouTube. Once again, please don't forget to follow us on social media. You've been really supportive those past days, so let's keep going like that. Thank you for your support. As I said, we'll be there next week, same time. Jotis, Darren, Alex, thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Thank
you as
you.
well.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jules.
everyone for joining us.
See
See you
you,
next
see
week.
you next week, everyone. Bye bye.